So it's a little breezy, but I hope this comes out alright. I'm just sat outside the hospital waiting for somebody coming out. And I've been reading, whilst I've been waiting, I just started reading a book called The Starfish and the Spirit, which I can maybe even hold up for you. So, and the basic idea is that with a starfish you can cut a tentacle off, and as far as I know a tentacle will grow into another starfish. You can certainly cut it in half and get another starfish, and it's looking at church structure models, and if you have a hierarchical model of church with a central leadership, then the leadership does everything and everything goes through the leadership, and nothing much happens without the leadership. Take the leadership away and the church will fall. With a starfish kind of model, every member is functioning, is making disciples, is reaching out, has a function, has a part, not in a hierarchical way, that everything has to get past a leader before it's approved and committed and done, and so on. And the basic point, actually, just I'm reading this, and the book's obviously written in terms of church growth and that kind of thing, and that a starfish type church type will tend to grow better, but there's more to it than that. Apologies for this gust of wind, but hopefully we're all right. So I'm just reading it in my mind with the current context of where we are in this nation, and things are getting darker and darker. And I see now, actually just today, news comes out that there's a government unit that is tasked to track on social media those people who are objecting to government policy on immigration and government policy on boat people and so on. And those people are being tracked, collated and watched by the government, because the government doesn't like opposition. These are early days, but we've seen many examples where Christians are now being persecuted. I mean, just recently a guy who's in court in November for thinking possibly the wrong thoughts within the purview of an abortion centre and so on. Things will get much darker, and it just struck me that a church that is a hierarchical church, if it's in opposition to what the government says or government policy in any way, it's quite easy to neutralise that church. And I never thought I'd be thinking like this in Britain, but these days are coming, you know. And a church that's hierarchical, it's got one leader, it's a central kind of thing, the central leadership kind of thing, then if there's opposition, if they oppose government policy or what government says, or what government says we should do or shouldn't do, it's quite easy to neutralise the church, just remove the leadership. It's quite easy to remove the leadership. We've seen this in COVID, where people who oppose government policy just had their names blackened, stories about them circulating, so that people think these are not good people to be hanging around with, and distance themselves from them, and so on. And there's that whole government and institutional machinery brought to bear on those who dissented, and it's quite easy to do. If you've got a starfish type setup where that you don't have a central leadership, where it's lots of small units, you can take one unit out, you could discredit the leader of one small unit, but the rest will function. And the point is that the rest functions because that knows what it has to do. With the larger institutional churches, take one leader out for opposing what is going on. Other leaders tend just to be muted and to silence themselves just because of who they are. It's a lack of I suppose, sense of purpose and calling and awareness of where we are in these times in this nation. So I just thought it was an interesting perspective, and actually large institutional type churches are far easier to mute and to silence. Take out the leaders and you can mute 1, 2, 3, 400 people fairly easily. Take out the leader of a starship. If I keep saying starship, it's not a starship, it's starfish. Take out the leader of a starfish part of. You don't disable the whole thing. You maybe neutralise 10 people, and the other 40 on the other points of the starfish will function quite happily and will grow and replace and carry on because they have a sense of purpose. So, and I could think probably of many churches, as could you, where if you took the leaders away, the thing would just fold up, you know. And we've seen a little bit of that in COVID. It's quite easy to imagine, but you look in countries where the church is growing, like China, like Iran, like Afghanistan, then you see these small units. You can arrest a house group leader, you can take them away, you can imprison them, you can put them to death. Doesn't stop anybody else, they carry on. So it's maybe just a thought about how we need to position ourselves, how we need to structure ourselves for the future. And I think we're just at the start of dark days. We're going to see much darker days in this country. It's certainly getting far more authoritarian, and it will continue to do so. So we just need to be prepared and ready, and just look at the type of church we're in and just think, if the leadership went, what would happen? You know, if you took out those who are in leadership, what would happen? And if the answer is it would fold, then it's time to restructure.